Mom?
Yes.
Mom, what are you doing?
Watching TV?
Mom, Mom, I need you to come to Van Buren, please.
Come to Van Buren?
Mom, he killed her, Mom.
Oh my God.
I need you to come to Van Buren, please.
Will they let me come up there?
Mom, he killed her.
On November 18th, 2018, a frantic 911 call from a home in Van Buren, Arkansas, reported that a 2-year-old girl named Olivia Soto had stopped breathing. But before the first responders could even arrive, the girl's stepfather figure, Jordan Shreve, fled the scene in a vehicle carrying a local drug dealer, leaving the mother, Eva Millard, alone with a cold, unresponsive child. Paramedics arrived to find a scene of absolute horror. The toddler was already dead, and a subsequent autopsy unveiled a chilling sequence of events. Olivia hadn't merely fallen or choked. She had been violently assaulted on 2 separate occasions within hours. Someone had heavily sedated the crying child with a cocktail of oxycodone and benzodiazepines, and when that failed to quiet her, delivered a devastating, crushing blow that shattered her skull. What followed inside the interrogation room was a psychological battlefield of deflection, hidden motives, and devastating betrayal. With both adults pointing fingers and a medical report that directly contradicts their stories, detectives are forced to play a high-stakes game of cat and mouse to uncover who delivered the fatal blows. By watching and analyzing this raw, high-stakes interrogation footage, you will witness the exact moment the web of lies begins to unravel, and see if you can spot the chilling clues that point to the true killer of baby Olivia.
So, have you been seeing Jordan while you were up there? Have y'all been still together? Pretty much.
Kinda, yeah. I can't remember exactly when he got back, but I was under the impression that we were still good until he got there, really. And that's when I found out about all the other stuff.
Like what stuff?
The girls, drugs, all that.
That he'd been doing after? Okay. Yeah, I didn't know nothing about that. I don't guess I knew anything about the girls and the drugs and stuff.
I didn't either. I didn't even know whenever I called.
Huh. Are y'all still living together? Okay.
But for that whole year until I called, I was in Michigan and he was here. I didn't come down at all.
Right.
Notice how the detective casually asks Eva about her current status with Jordan. This isn't just routine background checking. By getting Eva to state on record whether they are still together, the detective is testing her loyalty and establishing a baseline of codependency. Investigators look for these signs of protective behavior early on. If Eva defends Jordan or downplays their issues here, she is unwittingly signaling to the police that she might cover for his actions later to protect him. But keep watching, because the interrogation is about to shift to another child in the home, a detail that changes the high stakes of this investigation entirely.
I have a son. You know that?
Mm-hmm.
How'd you know that?
You was pregnant at the time, right?
I had a miscarriage on the 26th.
Oh, okay. And so you've had one since then? I did not know that.
He's 11. He'll be 11 months old on the 10th. That's why I need to talk to my mom.
Okay, when was the last time you talked to her?
Before all this stuff.
Okay.
Because I'm afraid that I'm afraid to. That's why I wouldn't talk to that lady.
What lady?
The lady that arrested me.
Oh, I got you. Okay. Huh. So what questions do you have for me? What do you want to talk about?
I need my son here with my mom.
Does your mom have your son? Where's he at? In Michigan? Who has him?
Watch this interaction very closely. By asking the detective how he knew about her son, Eva is testing the waters to see exactly how much data the police have already gathered on her. But when the detective mentions her pregnancy, she immediately pivots to revealing a miscarriage on the 26th. In criminal psychology, this is a calculated maneuver known as emotional weaponization and sympathy deflection. By introducing a deeply personal trauma, she is attempting to shift the power dynamic in the room, reframing herself from a potential suspect into a grieving, vulnerable mother to invoke pity. It's a sophisticated shield designed to make the investigator back off, but this sudden pivot is actually putting her timeline directly under the microscope.
Who has him? Jordan? Is it with Jordan's family? Okay. So,
The thing is I was planning on leaving and coming home to my mom.
yeah.
And then that's kind of what I was talking to that priest about.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't know how to just leave. And my mom kept telling me just to come home, just to come home. And I was trying to make enough money too, just come home.
Yeah.
And then I went to jail. And I want my son with my mom. So,
Okay. Well, is Jordan the father? Okay.
who else would be the father? I'm not a cheater.
I don't know. I didn't know you had a son. I don't know what's going on.
Jeez.
Okay. So,
That's why I didn't tell you where I was at when I called. That's why I haven't talked to no one, because I'm worried about my son.
right.
And I want my son with my mom.
Okay.
My mom wants my son too, but we didn't. I was just going to come with my son, but I didn't know really how.
Okay.
But I'm afraid with this stuff now, because they're supposed to come and bail me out or whatever, and then
So Jordan and them were coming down to bail you out? Is that what you're saying?
supposed to.
So that'd probably bring your son with them, right? Okay. Have you talked to him lately? Did you talk to him today? When was the last time you talked to Jordan?
Yesterday.
Okay. Well, we'll just keep that between us, but you won't leave. And when he gets down here with the baby, then you can just go with your mom, with the baby. Does that sound fair?
Are you going to take him away?
Nope.
Because I've done everything right. I haven't used, the whole time I was pregnant, I didn't use, he's beautiful.
Yeah.
But I just
What's his
don't,
name?
Trip,
Trip?
I just don't want to lose him. I've already lost him.
Yeah, I know you have. I know you have, girl. Well, and this is the thing, and I'm going to let you read the autopsy if you want to read it, okay?
I want you to show me what you guys see, because I don't understand.
Well, so...
I put her to bed myself. And then I went to sleep, and then that morning I thought she was asleep, so I just slept in. I didn't know she was gone.
This is the moment Eva is confronted with the ultimate forensic reality. The autopsy report and her psychological defense mechanism goes into overdrive. Notice her exact strategy. First, she experiences intense cognitive overload and tries to minimize the threat by claiming she doesn't understand the science, demanding, "I want you to show me what you guys saw." Then, she immediately retreats into a prepared narrative of being a tired, innocent mother, claiming, "I thought she would sleep, so I just slipped in." Finally, when the words fail, her body takes over. She relies on emotional shielding, tearing up to try and force a sympathetic pause and shut down further questioning. But pay close attention to the detective, because he isn't letting this emotional shift distract him from the hard evidence.
But as far as Jordan doing it, I mean, if you know, if you didn't do it, who did it?
I still believed it was an accident.
100% not. And we've had this conversation. And I'm going to let you read what the autopsy says. And it absolutely says, without a shadow of a doubt, it was an accident. Okay? Absolutely it says that. I'm just being blunt with you on that. And I'm going to let you read it. I don't have no problem with that. Okay? So, with that being said, if you know for a fact that you didn't do it, that leaves one person. That leaves one person, you know? And so I know either Jordan has had to have said something.
To me?
Mm-hmm.
About killing her?
Mm-hmm.
He ain't said nothing like that to me.
Or either you know something. I mean, during the time period that they're saying that the baby died, I mean, you and him were there.
What time?
It's like a 4 or 5 time period between like midnight and 4 or something like that. 5 maybe in the morning. Okay. But, you know, the thing is, it absolutely was not an accident. You know what?
She looked like there was nothing wrong.
There was.
To me.
Well,
is there something I could sign my son to my mom?
no. If they come down and you can get him.
What kind of bond am I looking at?
I'm not sure. I know there wasn't a bond on the warrant, so they'll probably go before a judge in the morning. They'll set a bond.
I mean, like, hi, I don't understand the felonies. I've only had breaking and entering felonies, and I think my bond was $10,000.
Yeah.
So I don't know what.
I don't know what they'll set it at. I really don't have any idea.
Like how I like Jordan's?
I don't know. I wouldn't think so.
What's the difference between a D and a B felony?
Well, big difference.
Like, gears-wise, what am I looking at?
What was Jordan charged with? He was charged with murder, wasn't he?
First degree, I think.
First degree. So he's looking 10 to 40 to life, where yours is probably, on each count, don't hold me to it, probably 6 year each. 1 to 6 years.
So it's going to be a high bond.
Honestly, I don't know.
I'm just asking because they're supposed to be the ones that hiring me a lawyer and paying my bond. So
I got you. And they'll know more about that in the morning. But hey, this is the deal. Why don't you look at me? Why don't you listen to me? Okay. There's no way that Jordan has done all this, and I just can't see that. And you not know something. Okay. Does that make you a bad person? No. Because I think at the time, you both, I know you and him both had a major pill problem.
I did.
I know. Absolutely you did.
But I don't anymore,
I know you don't. I know. And I'm just telling you that you have fixed yourself, you have changed, but at the same time, we have to make what happened right. I mean, you agree with that, okay?
I didn't do anything to her.
I'm not saying you did.
And if I'd have known you did, I would have told you. I don't know what kind of person that would make me not to tell you. And after he went to jail, I didn't see him. And every time I talked to him, he was sick and had to go lay down because he had other things to do. He didn't talk to me really. And whenever he came home, I was working at the store, and I'd been taking care of a little old dude, constantly working.
Yeah. Because
I found out all the stuff, and I had to throw myself into something else. I'm telling you, him and his mom don't talk to me about it, and whenever I do bring it up, it's shut down. And I tell you, I don't know. If I did, I'd tell you. I wish I did. It would make more sense in my head if I did.
So looking back at that night, what was your condition? What were you? I mean, I know y'all been taking pills, and I know you were taking pills that next day. Right.
That night, I was asleep. I slept most of the day, and I slept the night.
The day before?
Because I wasn't feeling good. And we went to the doctor, and then we got the prescription we got the Suboxone prescription, and I got it was some kind of steroid, something that the doctor prescribed.
Yeah.
But I was asleep. I didn't even wake up to do anything. Pills or anything. I was asleep, and every time I would wake up, I'd go to the garage and smoke a cigarette and go right back to bed. And
well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I know she was crying and she got up there with y'all.
I got her myself.
Right. And
I put her in bed with me, and Jordan, she was telling me no. And Jordan told me that if he needed to go into the other room, and I told him no. And then I laid her back down in the pack and play, and I went and filled up her bottle, came back, gave it to her, put her blanket on her, and kissed her on the forehead, and told her good night, I loved her, and then crawled back in bed and went back to sleep. Every time I close my eyes, because I feel like it's my fault. Because I laid her back down. I didn't leave her in bed with me.
Yeah.
So that goes over my head. It's like a video that plays.
Yeah.
But then I went back to sleep. And then in the morning she was gone. But I didn't know. I thought she was still asleep, so I went back to sleep.
And he hadn't said anything to you about any of this. Y'all haven't discussed it. You and him together, when y'all were alone, you're telling me this has not been discussed, period.
When I try to discuss it, he shuts it down. He doesn't want to talk about it.
And so what do you think about that in your mind? Do you think he's being honest?
want to think he's being honest.
You know whether or not you did it.
I know I didn't.
You know what I'm saying? Okay. So you're telling me you didn't. So that leaves only him. You see what I'm saying?
I would be lying to you if I ever questioned.
Well, sure you. I understand that.
I question it every day. Even the phone call I made to you, that was me questioning. Because I want to know why. I'm thinking that if you guys can show me why you think it's him, maybe I'll see it from your guys' point of view, and then maybe it'll...
Well, our big deal is the way he acted that morning. Knowing that she was gone. And then he says...
He didn't know she was dead. He thought she was hurt.
Well, he told us he checked for her breathing and pulse, and there wasn't nothing.
He told me when it all happened, and I kept trying to tell him that there was something really wrong. He put his hand on her chest like this, and told me to calm down because there was a pulse. And then whenever I picked her up and went through the hallway to the living room yelling at him to call 911, I laid her down on the couch on her back so I could go figure out what happened. And then I turned on my heel and I realized that my shoulder was wet. So that made me turn back around, and he was on the phone with 911 or whatever, and that's whenever I seen the blood on her lip. And then I screamed at him because I was further away from her than him to flip her over and hit her on the back because I thought maybe she was choking. And he flipped her over, but he was barely touching, patting her back. So, and that's when he hung up the phone with the ambulance people, so he could do what I told him to do. And then I pushed him out of the way and hit her harder on the back to get the stuff for whatever out of her throat.
Right. And
then he felt for a heartbeat again and told me there was a heartbeat. And I kept telling him there wasn't. And that's when I screamed for him to call 911 again, and he did. And then I was holding her, and he told me he had to take those people home. I told him that he probably shouldn't. He said, I have to take these people home, and he left. I took Olivia back into the bedroom, laid her on the bed on her back, trying to figure out where she was hurt, or definitely where she was bleeding. And that's when I looked in her little mouth, and that's whenever, when I was holding her while he was on the phone with 911 the second time, I went to do this to put her here, and I took my hand off of her neck, and then I noticed that her head kind of flopped, and I went to catch it, and that's whenever I felt the crack or a cracking feeling in my hand, and I yelled at him that I thought her neck was broken. And then that's whenever he was on the phone 911 and told him to come the second time, and then right after that he left. Then I took her back to the bedroom. I took her little onesie off of her, was looking for the whatever, and then I flipped her over onto her stomach so I could check her neck and I put her little hair in like a ponytail with my hand, trying to feel around on her head to find it. And I couldn't. The only thing that I seen was the little bruise here and the little bruise here, and I couldn't figure out why she was bleeding. And I even tried to check her mouth, and that's when I noticed that her arm wouldn't come down.
Yeah.
And then I laid her on her side just in case. Just in case she was going to choke or whatever. I think that was just me hoping that she would. I laid her on her side, and I ran to find my phone so I could call 911 again, because it was taking them forever to me. I don't know why. But when I got a hold of 911, I talked to the lady for maybe 30 seconds, and then I seen the shoes in the door, and then that's when they came in.
Yeah.
But he did tell me she had a pulse twice. So, I don't know. He says he thought she was just hurt and was going to go to the hospital.
Well, he didn't feel a pulse, that's for sure.
I always thought he felt his own.
It might be. Could have. But when he took them home, he didn't even come right back. Well, you know, that's just weird.
He did come right back.
No, he didn't. He went down the road and stopped and called his ex-wife and talked to her for 40 minutes.
He told me it's because the police was pushing him off the road.
That didn't make sense. Didn't say nothing to Pam about the whole deal, but he went down the road and talked to her for 40 minutes on the phone before he came home, knowing what you were going through. So see, the stuff like that absolutely points to him. Okay? But what bothers us is the fact that you're still with him. You're still, you know, for a funeral.
I didn't know about the funeral.
You knew there was a funeral.
I set up the funeral from where I was at. I was going to come back. I set it up at McDonald's. I want to say it was McDonald out of Greenwood. I called him. We set it up. He had a chapel on the side of his, what do you call it, funeral home? And he was giving us everything. The casket, the only thing I was going to have to pay was $600, and he was going to let us have 2 different services in his little chapel for Jose's family and for my family. And because I didn't know what Jose wanted, I told that guy to call Jose, and I gave him Jose's number. And that guy called Jose because I wanted to make for sure Jose got a say in what went on that day. And Jose straight told that guy, we have everything under control. He was just not supposed to know about it. And that guy called us back and told me. So.
Did you call Jose and talk to him?
I did talk to Jose. Jose told me that the first time I talked to Jose, he told me he was going to cremate her. We had a fight about that, and I told him no. Well, then, that was before I set up the funeral. And then, I want to say we talked again, and he said something. He was going to go meet with someone about getting her body released or something, and I told him that's when I just got back. I just got to Michigan, and he said something about the funeral being, he wanted it on a Thursday, I believe. And then I called. I was under the impression he hadn't set anything up, so that's when I called and had everything set up. And the funeral was going to be on a Monday. But he told me something about a Thursday, but the funeral was a Saturday. So I was under the impression it was going to be on whichever day, but I had no idea about a Saturday. Because I called my mom, and I told my mom that me and Jose were fighting over the cremation. And we were going to bury her by my granny and papa in Waldron. Because my mom has, what do you call it?
Lots. Right, yeah.
Because she has 12 kids. So she had a lot of them already paid for. Because that's the road that I grew up on. And I was going to bury her by my granny and papa. But Jose told that guy I wasn't supposed to know, that he had everything taken care of. And if you need that, I probably could call the guy.
Why did y'all go back to Michigan?
Because the lawyer said that that was the best thing to do.
What did you think about it?
I didn't want to go because my family is here. But I was under the impression that that was the best place for us to go. They paid him $100,000, so I thought he knew what he's talking about. And then when we came back, my main reason for coming back is because I did miss Olivia's funeral, and I still haven't seen her grave. But I was going to go that day and see her grave. But then Jordan got arrested, and the lawyer told us to get back to Michigan. And then I didn't come back at all, because I was under the impression that I wasn't allowed to come back to Arkansas per the lawyer.
He's not your lawyer.
But he said that...
You know what I'm saying?
I know, but I don't know if any of this really happened. I'm just telling you what I was told. I was told, mind you, I'm really scared about Tripp, so I don't really like to bring his name up, but I was pregnant with him. And I had insurance and everything in Michigan. But at first it was, I couldn't come back and live with Jordan because I was pregnant with Tripp and I had Michigan Medicaid or whatever. And my doctor was in Michigan. I tried to argue the point that I could have got Medicaid like that in Arkansas. I've always had it there. But then it went to the lawyer. The lawyer says it's not a good idea because they picked up Jordan.
He's got one concern, and that's Jordan. That's not you.
So my mom keeps saying.
You know what I'm saying? And that lawyer knows. He knows the truth. Jordan knows the truth.
They told me the lawyer knows Jordan didn't do it.
So that leaves you. Did you do it?
There ain't no way in hell.
There's two people in that room. You and Jordan.
Can I smoke again? I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
It's too much.
This is the exact moment Eva's psychological defense completely shatters, forcing her to rely on 3 specific psychological tricks: psychological cornering, a tactical stall, and displacement behavior. When the investigator delivers the ultimate ultimatum, there's only 2 people in that room, you and Jordan. Eva's narrative hits a dead end. Watch her immediate reaction. First, she lapses into a telling, heavy silence as her brain experiences acute psychological cornering. Then, instead of defending her innocence, she immediately attempts a tactical stall, asking, "Can I smoke again?" In forensic interrogation, this is a classic displacement behavior. When a suspect is faced with undeniable logic, they will desperately try to introduce a physical vice to buy time, disrupt the investigator's momentum, and escape the crushing pressure of the truth.
I'll be right back with you, okay?
Is it going to bother you if I wear a mask? Okay. So, we're talking about the autopsy. I'm going to show it to you, okay? So, it's a big, long thing, and we can go through all of it, but usually the
And it explains, let me show you. So it's Olivia Faith Soto, okay? And it shows that they ruled it a homicide, okay? And then it explains like her, thank you. It explains like her external description, which is, I mean, we can go through and read it if you want to. Do you want to go through the whole thing? Okay, so it says,
Sorry.
That's great. It says, let me make sure I turn this off. It says the body was that of a well-developed and well-nourished white female toddler. At the time of initial examination, the body was nude. A disposable diaper was present under the body. Paper bags were present on the hands. The body weighed 24 pounds, measured...
Paper bags? I didn't put paper bags.
We do. We bag our hands. Okay? In case there's any kind of...
And I was thinking, I know I put a diaper on her. Sorry.
No, we bag hands. So... It says the body weighed 24 pounds, measured 33 inches in length, and appeared consistent with the stated age of 2 years. Body temperature was cold. Rigor mortis was fully and uniformly developed in the extremities. And there's going to be a lot of things that you don't understand in here.
Rigor mortis wasn't said only in her arm.
When it got to the ME, baby.
Okay.
Okay. Faint, fixed, purple-red lividity was present on the posterior body surfaces except in areas exposed to pressure. The scalp was covered by brown-black hair measuring up to 10 inches in maximum length. Injuries involving the scalp will be described below. The irides were brown and cornea were clear. The conjunctive and scleria showed no petechial hemorrhages or other significant changes.
What's that mean?
So petechia is like if she was like physically choked. You have blood vessels in your eye, and I've seen people that have had petechia in their chest, like if there's the person that I saw had choked to death and there was a whole lot of pressure there, like if you're choking, like somebody's strangling somebody, a lot of times the blood vessels in their eyes will pop, and that's called petechia.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm going to have a lot of questions. I don't
and we may have
understand.
to, that's fine, because some of this I may not understand because I'm not a forensic doctor. When we get to the very back page, it's like, I call it the page for dummies.
Oh, okay.
So it explains everything in layman terms, like where we can understand it, okay? So if you have questions about something, if I can't answer it in here, it'll answer it back here where we can't understand it, okay? It says, injuries involving the external ears will be described below. The nasal passages and mouth contain minimal amounts of mucid sanguous fluid. The teeth were normally erupted for age and appeared unremarkable. Inner surfaces of the lips were without evidence of energy. The frenulum of the upper lip was intact. I think that's that thing right there. You know what I'm talking about? Let me find where I was. Superficial injury involving the anterior neck will be described below. The chest was normally developed and generally symmetric. Superficial injuries on the upper anterior right chest will be described below. The abdomen was flat and showed no external evidence of antemortem injury. The external genitalia were those of a normally developed female child and showed no evidence of injury or abnormality. The lower extremities were normally developed and generally symmetric. Superficial injuries located on and around the anterior knees will be described below. The lower extremities were otherwise without evidence of old or recent injury. The ankles and feet were unremarkable, which means there just wasn't anything. They were normal. The upper extremities were normally developed and generally symmetric. Superficial injuries involving the right upper arm and both elbows will be described below. The upper extremities were otherwise without evidence of injury. Examination of the hands did not reveal any evidence of acute antemortem injury. The nails were relatively short and intact. Examination of the posterior body surfaces revealed a single superficial injury on the left lower back. The back and buttocks were otherwise without external evidence of antemortem injury. The anus was without evidence of injury or abnormality. So it says ECG pads, evidence of medical attention. So this is what they saw when they got her, okay? Because we don't mess with the body other than just like bagging hands or something like that. We send it to...
Would I have done any of this stuff to her when I tried to do CPU?
No, probably not.
Because I didn't know what I was doing.
That's fine. No. Probably not. Okay. ECG pads were present on the upper anterior right chest and lower anterior left chest. Evidence of old injury, none present. evidence of recent injury. Okay? And like I said, there's going to be things we probably don't understand in this, but they describe it back here to people like me, okay? That aren't doctors.
Like me.
Yeah. A wide confluent contusion involved much of the lateral right parietal and temporal scalp. This contusion, a contusion is like a bruise, extended to involve skin surfaces immediately posterior to the external ear. Overall, it involved an area measuring 4 by 3.5 inches in greatest dimensions. Skin surfaces with the contused area did not show any abrasions, lacerations, or additional injuries. Near confluent contusion hemorrhage also involved the upper half of the posterior right external ear. On the outer surface of the right external ear, a 1/2 inch diameter purple-blue contusion involved the scapha. Okay, this is what was in her system, okay? Which they'll explain that. So she was positive for oxycodone and benzos, alright, and acetaminophen. So basically he explains in here that it looks like she had been given Roxyset. And I'll explain, he thinks it's Roxyset, and I'll explain that too. When we read this, it'll explain it. So findings, this is what they found. Craniocerebral injuries, marked contusion of the hemorrhage and scalp, comminuted fractures of posterior calvarum and basal skull. So she had fractures in her skull. Minimal subdural hemorrhage.
What does that mean? She was bleeding.
We're going to explain it in here.
Oh, okay.
I'm just explaining what they... Subarachnoid hemorrhage, posterior cerebral hemispheres, and cerebellum. Lacerations of the cerebellum and posterior corpus, can't say that word, callosum. And then terminal blood aspiration. Multiple superficial blunt force injuries. Okay? There were contusions of the face, neck, upper chest, knees, elbows, and the right upper arm. Acute inflammatory response associated with contusion. There was an acute fracture of a right second rib. Intercostal soft tissue hemorrhage of the right chest wall. Pulmonary hystosis and bilateral pulmonary vascular congestion. So here is the doctor's opinion, okay? This 2-year-old female child, Olivia Soto, died of craniocerebral injuries, blunt force injuries of the head and brain. According to the investigation, just after 11 a.m. on 11/8/2018, she was reportedly found lying unresponsive. Medical aid was summoned and she was transported to the hospital. She was obviously deceased and prolonged resuscitation attempts were not made. Death was not officially made by the deputy coroner until 2:21 p.m. External examination of the body revealed multiple fresh bruises. Many of these were concentrated on the face and neck. A very large contusion was present on the right side of the head. Subsequent internal examination of the head revealed widespread hemorrhage in the scalp and multiple comminuted skull fractures. There were corresponding subdural and subarachnoid hemorrhage, as well as injuries to the posterior part of the brain. Additional superficial blunt force injuries were present on the right upper chest, both knees, both elbows, and the right upper arm. Areas of soft tissue hemorrhage involved the right rib cage. An acute fracture of the right second rib was identified. Internal examination did not show evidence of old injury or life-threatening natural diseases. There were gross and microscopic findings of histoplasmosis, a fungal infection of the lungs. This condition did not contribute to death.
What does that mean?
It's I don't know, you'd have to Google histoplasma. It's a fungal infection of the lungs. It was a microscopic finding, but it did not contribute to any part of the death. That's what he says in here. Microscopic examination of the tissues from the brain confirmed the presence of acute injuries. Microscopic examination of tissues from the brain confirmed the presence of acute, I think I read that twice. Microscopic examination of the bruises showed hemorrhage, and in some samples an acute inflammatory response was observed. Toxicology testing, this is where they're talking about what was in her blood, okay, did not reveal any ethanol, which is alcohol, in the blood. A trace amount of acetone was present, possibly indicating mild ketosis at the time of death. A drug screen was positive for benzodiazepines and oxycodone. Additional testing showed diazepam in her blood at an elevated but non-toxic level. It is a metabolite. Nordiazepam was also present. Diazepam is a drug in the benzo family and is a sedative. The presence of oxycodone narcotic was confirmed. It was present at a non-toxic level. The testing also showed a low level of acetaminophen. The presence of acetaminophen and oxycodone suggests a combination drug such as Roxyset may have been administered. Okay?
I know I gave her Tylenol that day.
Okay, I don't think you gave her oxycodone.
I gave her Tylenol because she wasn't feeling good.
Okay, that's not oxycodone. Okay? Tylenol's not oxys or that combination, alright? Now this is where you need to listen really good, alright? The pattern of head injuries indicate they were produced by crushing type force as opposed to a direct blow or multiple blows. The number and extent of fractures caused collapse of the cranium with direct crushing of the brain. This type of injury is extremely devastating and would have caused immediate loss of consciousness and death within a very short time. This time frame is supported by the relatively small amounts of subdural and subarachnoid hemorrhage, as well as absence of the cerebral edema. As noted above, when tissue samples from the bruises on the body surface were examined microscopically, some showed the presence of an acute inflammatory response. Such a response generally takes hours to develop. Based on these findings, so what they're saying is there are bruises that it would have took hours to be like they were. So what they're going to say right here is based on these...
That's why I only seen two.
Huh? What?
So that's why I only see the one here and one here.
No, listen what I'm fixing to say, okay? It says, based on these findings, so I'm going to go back and read this, all right? It says, as noted above, when tissue samples from the bruises on the body were examined microscopically, some showed the presence of acute inflammatory response. So what they're saying is they found that, and that takes hours to develop, and it has to develop while she's alive, okay? So based on these findings, it is most likely that the injuries observed at autopsy were due to at least two applications of force at different times. So what they think it happened, it says this is also supported by the presence of drugs in her system. So they think that she was hurt, she was injured one time, and she was probably crying and upset, so the drugs were administered, and then that didn't make her stop, so the crushing of the brain happened next. It says this is also supported by the presence of drugs in her system. These medications were likely administered in order to sedate her and treat pain after the initial injuries were sustained. Along with the number, distribution, and severity of the injuries, the evidence of multiple assaults is inconsistent with any reasonable accidental scenario, including a fall. So they're saying this didn't happen from a fall. There were at least two different incidents, and in between, there were narcotics given to her to try to make it go away.
So all the same day, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, but I was asleep all day because I wasn't feeling good too.
Didn't you get up at 4 because she woke up?
I slept most of the day before because I wasn't feeling good. But she wasn't feeling good either. And a couple of times I woke up during the day. There was one time that I woke up and...
Listen, Sammy, I'm going to ask you something. I don't want you to get offended by it, okay? Because I feel like I need to ask this, all right? You remember I talked to you before. Do you remember that? Okay. I'm a mama, all right? And I talked to you then. You know, there's like some cases in our career that we work and they just stick with you because you want to know the answers, and this is one of those, okay? And I think I told you when I talked to you last time that, you know, a mom's job is to protect her baby. But I also know, as a mom, that we can get severely frustrated. And I'm telling you, I've got 2 kids. I've been there, okay? And I don't think I ever asked you then, and I don't want to hurt your feelings, but I feel like I owe this to you. Did you have any type of, like, postpartum depression or anything like that?
With her?
Yeah. None at all. Never had any type of depression or anything like that. Because I know, like, when I had my kid, my first one, I was 21 years old, all right?
I remember.
And
you were telling me that. sometimes your kids would frustrate you and top of the stairs and just cry.
Yeah, I would, and it's so frustrating. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, you know, like I mean, I had to get away because I had those feelings. And
Olivia, though, she never made me angry. She was my bestest friend. With Peyton, I didn't have a real relationship with her because I was in and out of jail. I went to prison, but with Olivia, she was my bestest friend.
Somebody did that to your little girl. This is your baby. Do you see those bruises? Somebody crushed her skull into her brain. Eva, somebody crushed her skull into her brain.
I wasn't there when I seen her.
That's what they're talking about in this autopsy report, the bruises. Did you do this? Did you accidentally hurt her?
No.
When you read that autopsy, even her tongue has bruising because she bit her tongue when this happened. This isn't a fall off the tongue, sis. And this stuff don't go away. I watched a thing today. This guy, he was 70-something years old, and he killed people in like the 50s or 60s, and they just arrested him. This stuff doesn't go away. I just want answers for her. She deserves that.
You said it happened twice?
And that's what the ME thinks, that there were two different incidents. That there was the first incident that caused bruising because it was older, and then they gave her drugs trying to probably get her to be quiet because it hurt her, and then the next one crushed her skull.
Was she just fine in the bed with me then?
She wasn't just fine.
So the other one had to happen the day before too, right?
Not necessarily the day before. It says in here that what it's talking about with the tissues is it says that it takes them at least 2 hours. I think is what. Let me find it back here. It takes hours to develop. So it says, as noted above, when tissue samples from the bruises on the body surface were examined microscopically, some showed the presence of acute inflammatory response. Such a response generally takes hours to develop. Based on these findings, it is most likely that the injuries observed were due to at least 2 applications of force at different times. So, the way they're describing it is one application of force happened, which made the bruises, and then the Roxyset, or medicine very similar to Roxyset, was given, which is the oxycodone. I think it has, what did I say, benzos and oxy, and then I guess probably to make her...
I gave her Tylenol myself.
But that's not the same.
But I gave her Tylenol myself.
But that's not the same.
Because Jordan told me she was throwing up. So I gave her Tylenol myself.
But when did Jordan tell you she was throwing up?
I don't know exactly what time it was, but I woke up the day before at like 12:30, I think. And I was walking through the house to the garage to smoke a cigarette. And I looked up, and he had her in one arm and some stuff in the other arm, and just told me she threw up.
What do you mean stuff? Like medicine, or?
It looked like he just cleaned it.
Like puke?
The throw up.
Okay.
I want to say it was a stuffed animal and some other stuff. But I didn't think anything of it. I fell back in bed. And then we went to the doctor about 4 or 5, and she was asleep. So I gave Jim my phone and told him if he would, if she woke up, to call, and we would come straight home. We didn't even fill the prescriptions or nothing. We just came straight home, and when I got home, she was asleep. So I crawled back in bed. Then I woke up again, and I was holding her, and I put her in the bed with me to let her lay with me, and then I got up off the bed and I went to smoke a cigarette. And I sat out there for a minute, and by the time I came back in, he had already laid her back down because he said that she fell asleep. And then I went to bed, and she was asleep. When he woke me up saying some girl was at the house, I went outside, and I sat with him for like 15 minutes, and I come back in and went back to bed because she was still asleep. And then I slept until Jordan woke me up because he was coming to get in the bed. But then I fell back asleep. Then I sat straight up because I heard Olivia make a noise, and I put her in bed with me. She was making noise, and she said no. And Jordan said, "Do I need to go to the other room?" And I said no. And I picked her up and I put her back in the thing, in the pack and play. I went and filled up the milk, and I come back and I gave it to her, and then I put her blanket over her and I kissed her and I told her I loved her, and then I went and got back in bed. When Jordan woke me up the next morning, he told me that he was going to get Billy, and I said, okay. And I didn't hear her making no noise, so I just went back to sleep. I woke up to him tinkering in the bathroom, and then that's when I found her.
She's beautiful, and she's innocent. There's no reason this should have happened to her. This is just total opinion on my part. But I feel like somebody stepped on her head. And that's just my personal opinion. That is not anything in here. That is just from looking at it and seeing it, it looks like they stomped on her head.
My mom swears he killed her.
Look at me. If you didn't accidentally kill her, then he absolutely killed her. Everything about...
But now I'm too scared to know
his reaction with everything was wrong. I mean, we came to do a search warrant on the house, and y'all go for a stroll around the neighborhood? That's weird.
Because he had to get away from it.
Yeah, call 911, and your baby's unresponsive, and he leaves and goes and talks to his ex-wife or girlfriend or whatever she was. That's not normal.
He said that was because me and Pam don't get along. She's right, we don't get along. He said he had to talk to her away from me.
While your baby is unresponsive? I think there's more important things right then than talking to his ex-wife or girlfriend.
He said that's because you guys were driving so fast you about pushed him off the road.
He left you with an unresponsive baby at the house.
He said that's because he had the drug dealer in the car.
Pardon my French, but at that point, who gives a fuck? Do you get what I'm saying? That is a baby. Look at her. That is a beautiful baby. A beautiful, perfectly innocent baby. Nobody cares about a drug dealer.
He said it was because he thought she was alive and we didn't need that drama too. asked him why he left too.
He knew she wasn't alive. You realize somebody gave her oxycodone and benzo to try to get her to be quiet because she had already been hurt once.
Can I talk to my mom?
I'm sure you probably can.
I really need to talk to my mom.
Okay. Let me go get Sergeant Perry, alright?
Can I smoke too?
Let me go get Sergeant Perry, okay? I'm sure he'll tell you later.
Mom?
Yes.
Mom, what are you doing?
Watching TV?
Mom, I needed you to come to Van Buren, please.
Come to Van Buren?
Mom, he killed her, Mom.
Oh my God.
I need you to come to Van Buren, please.
Will they let me come up there?
Mom, he killed her. Oh my God.
Will they let me come up there? Eva, ask Sergeant Perry. Eva, let me talk to Sergeant Perry. Eva, let me talk to Sergeant Perry real quick.
Even as the walls closed in during her final conversations with her mother, Eva Millard desperately tried to cling to her innocence. But the justice system wasn't done with her. Initially, Eva managed to escape the heaviest prison time by taking a plea deal for permitting child abuse, walking away with probation and a suspended sentence. Meanwhile, her partner Jordan Shreve faced a full murder trial, but a jury ultimately found him not guilty. With the stepfather walking free, the spotlight swung completely back to Eva. Eva's second chance didn't last long. After failing a drug test, committing theft, and completely violating her probation, she fled the state. The U.S. Marshals tracked her down across the country, finally capturing her in California. This time, there would be no leniency. Her original probation was completely revoked, and a judge officially sentenced Eva to 20 years in prison. As she was taken away in cuffs, the prosecutor dropped the final bombshell declaration that completely flipped the entire narrative, stating publicly that Eva Millard was no bystander, but was likely the killer of her daughter.